So Jose has been serving clients as a financial professional since 2017 and has been blessed to work with a wide range of unique clients. After a successful start in the industry, he decided to open his own business and office, Exponential Financial, in order to better serve his clients and the community. Previous to joining the insurance and financial industry, he helped his parents with their family business while receiving his BS in Business Administration from Sonoma State University's School of Business and Economics. Residing in Santa Rosa, California with his fiancée Emily and their Australian Shepherd Tahoe, Jose loves the outdoors. On weekends, he can be found camping, mountain biking, or cooking. He is an active member of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, board chair for the Santa Rosa Young Professionals Network, and has been an assistant coach for Maria Carrillo High School's wrestling team since 2010. Take it away, Jose.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jordan, for the warm introduction. I hope everyone is doing well. Not used to this whole layout without seeing people's faces, but we'll make do. So yeah, today's topic, networking. Why is that so important? Okay, and what are the greatest opportunities? Well, this is kind of involves a few different things, but for the first part is visibility. You need to find a way to stick out, whether you're going to be running your own business, you're going to be in a sales position, or shoot, if you're coming out of college or out of high school trying to look for a job, you kind of have to create some competitive edge and just get to know people, really. People really want to work with who they know and who they trust. And shoot, I grew up in the area, so that's a big advantage for me for running my business. And funny little story right here, Jordan Brown, who did the introduction for me. We went to high school together. So again, longer you're in an area, the longer you start connecting with people, you start connecting the dots. You'll probably end up hearing this a lot, but your network is going to be your net worth, especially right now when starting off. You're going to want to have these connections, whether they're in the same industry or not. And I'll get into that a little bit deeper in just a minute. But this kind of how my career revolves around it. It's due to the fact that I'm a business owner. I'm trying to grow my client base, so I have to be connecting with people year round. Really, not only networking with other professionals, but talking to potential clients. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Well, as a financial advisor, I need to find new clients to keep building my business, so that they don't just kind of come to me. It's pretty much all word of mouth. So started with a few clients that I got from the initial company I started working with. And then when I founded Expedition Financial, it was just word of mouth from there on out, just spreading the word. I'm kind of like, hey, I'm doing my own thing now. And just reintroducing people to what I do, and getting the conversation going. So connecting to other advisors, what do I mean by that? So for my industry, I focus on the finance side of things. But two big things I don't do, and I'm glad I don't, are taxes, tax advice, and legal advice. Okay, so I definitely outsource that to CPAs or any accountants, and for legal advice, to attorneys. Good partners for me with what I do with that are estate planning attorneys. So we work on creating an estate plan. The estate attorney drafts the documents. I just take care of the financial side of things, making the recommendations for that. Whether it's insurance or finance related, we kind of take care of that, for the most part. Okay. Now, some tips and tricks on how to approach and how to stand out. Well, kind of how I started is just asking for help. Just asking. For me, first thing I did was ask other business owners kind of how they started, what they would do. And just ask them out for coffee. So if there's somebody you have some kind of connection to, or you look up to, let them know that could go a really long way. So I took these people to heart and asked them out for coffee or lunch or whatever that case, was at that time. And I asked them for their advice, and they're going to shoot straight. So again, look at people in the field you're trying to get into, whatever that industry may be. Ask what steps they took. Ask what stuff they would have done differently. You'd be surprised at the feedback you get from these people, and they want to see you succeed. I have this in the notes, but it takes a village, and it truly does. People really want to see you kind of move forward, and also take advantage of some of the things they probably didn't. So for myself, I wish I had a little bit more mentorship going into this industry. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, finding somebody who could guide you, kind of hold your hand per se, and get things going for you to build, wherever you're trying to go. Going through my notes here, give me 1 second. So some of the questions I ask, or that I love asking, especially to this day, is, so if you were in my shoes, what would you do to advance your career in whatever that is? So I talked to other financial advisors when I started, and I kind of got their grasp on it. So again, whatever that career or career path may look for you, find somebody that has been successful at it. How did you start your career / business? And if you were to start over, what would you do differently? One of the big things I learned early was actually networking. So running a business, you have to be able to connect with other people in different ways. I'm part of a few different groups, like Jordan had mentioned. I'm actually very active in the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, NAIFA. Just connecting with other professionals in my own industry. I've been coaching actually since high school, since I got out of high school. Started coaching at the Maria Carrillo wrestling team, and then also for Stallions. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Pop Warner football, but Santa Rosa Stallions are groups from pretty much 6 years old all the way up to middle school age. So I helped out for that for a couple of years. And I also helped out at Rincon Valley Middle School with the coaching program for a few years as well. Now, why did I do that? It's not directly correlated to business, but again, it's just connecting to my passion and talking to other people. I love coaching. I wrestled in college. I was fortunate enough to do that. So able to pass on those skills onto another person. And also, getting away from the career a little bit, it's just doing something extracurricular like that just clears your brain a little bit, helps you focus on other things that you may not have thought of. So for me, again, really career oriented. I probably put in at least 10 hours of studying a week, give or take. Right now, I'm working on my CFP designation. It stands for Certified Financial Planner. So again, I need extra stuff to keep my brain busy outside of work. If I just focus on work 24/7, you probably heard of this, is burnout. Okay. So we want to make sure we avoid that. So finding some things you can relate to outside of your career, definitely helpful. But some of the other things people don't really think of that you could join are professional associations within whatever industry you're trying to get into. Meetup groups. I mean, I think Facebook's just started something called Facebook groups. So doing something like that, again, what are you passionate about? Is it drawing? Is it running? Whatever that is, connect with those people. Also volunteer. I love volunteering at the Redwood Empire Food Bank. I go there maybe every other month. Just go in there for a couple hours, helping, pack boxes. But again, find things you're capable of. One thing I'm starting is actually having volunteer days to go up to the state parks. I love camping. I love hiking. We're fortunate enough to have Annandale State Park pretty close to where we live. And it's sad to see how much trash there is out there sometimes. So, getting a group together to do something like that, trash cleanups, you end up start talking. For business owners or anyone wanting to start a business, is connect with your local chamber of commerce. Santa Rosa has a great one. But any major city or town, they're going to have something like that available. And the resources available to those members are nearly endless in terms of building your practice. And again, connecting with other people. One of the things I'm very involved in with Santa Rosa is the Santa Rosa Young Professionals Network, or YPN. I'm actually fortunate enough to be the chair of the board this year. And again, we're a program of the Santa Rosa Chamber of Commerce. And really focusing on building, younger people. Why are we trying to do that? Well, a lot of people, when it comes to, going straight to, from college or high school, freshly starting a business out to connecting with other people, there's really a big gap between those, veterans in business and those people just starting out. So one of the big things we want to do is just introduce new businesses to other new businesses, bounce around ideas in terms of, what are you guys doing? What's working? That has become, instrumental, especially this whole last year. Everybody was going into working, working virtually. I had to change my practice from, meeting everybody in person to meeting everybody online. So made those adjustments by talking to my peers in other industries. Hey, how are you guys doing it? What works? What doesn't? What should I try? And again, sharing those struggles and bouncing around ideas. And again, just comes back to getting to know your community, and yeah, just figuring out whatever that is for you. It's going to be different for everybody on this call today. But find your passion, find your why. And what I mean, find your why is like, why are you trying to pursue the career you're trying to pursue? And again, if you don't have that yet, you will. But again, connect with other people as much as you can between now and when you graduate college, or shoot, if you're going into the workforce right out of high school, same thing. Just make sure you connect with the right people. And Jordan, that's about all I got right now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jose. That was really appreciated. I'm sure all of our attendees needed that sort of resource. Next, we're going to flow right into our JamBoard that we've put together for you all today. I'm going to paste the link in the chat so you can all go there, but I'll also share my screen so that we can all see what is being written down. So there is the link for all of you. And so what we've put together is a JamBoard. There's a couple of different slides. To start, we have how to stand out as a cosmetologist. Next, you'll see how to stand out in the tech industry and so on. You can flip through all of those. And then using everything that Jose just went over, if you use the toolbar on the left, I don't know how many of you have used JamBoard. I'm sure plenty of you in our year of distance learning. The fourth tool down is the sticky note icon. If you click on that, you can type in whatever you think would be beneficial to put in each slide. So I'll be quiet now and let you all chime in. And yes, I'll repost the link right now. Some examples would be for how to stand out as a cosmetologist. You might be you're a walking billboard of your own work. And so whether you do hair or makeup, presenting yourself in that way can help show your clients that they should come to you for your services. Also, please feel free to put any questions you might have for Jose in the chat. After this, we'll move on to Q&A with him. So it looks like somebody put social media platforms, customer experience. I'll move on to other slides to see if anyone's adding some stuff. How to stand out in the tech industry, invent something cool, present a past project. For how to stand out in marketing, have relationships with all types of people. Standing out as an artist, being unique, creating portfolios to showcase the artist's skill to potential clients, and advertise through art fairs and art shows. Showing up on time for a construction worker, that's a good one. Oh, that was the end of them. Thank you to all who are participating in this. We really appreciate it. be friendly and outgoing. And you might also see some overlap on all of these slides because sometimes those sort of skills can carry over into different sort of fields. Jose, would you like to comment on any of the sticky notes that are being posted right now?
No, it's all really good stuff. And you're gonna see a lot of this that's gonna be applicable to different you know industries.
Definitely. And this JamBoard will also be available along with the recording after today's session. A lot for healthcare and social work. You guys have put a lot of really great sticky notes in there. All right, let's do this for one more minute. Get your last minute notes added in. All right. So now I want to open it up for anybody who would like to ask Jose questions today. Feel free to add any questions in the chat. All right, Jose, we have one question for you. How did you know you wanted to work in finance?
Yeah, so actually that's a really good question. Cool little story too. So going to Sonoma State, I was focusing on business administration. Didn't really know exactly what I wanted to get into. I know I wanted to get in some sort of management and so on and so forth. But upon maybe 6 months prior to graduation, really looking at to what industry I really wanted to focus on, and I saw just a huge gap in finance and also huge opportunity. So what do I mean by that? There is a huge gap with the Hispanic community and financial literacy. And it's just become that much more, come to light more than anything this past year, due to everything else going on, that there's people that are underserved in certain aspects. So finance was one of those things where I was like, hey, I'm good with numbers. I like talking to people, and shoot, my people need help. So I jumped on that opportunity head first. I had a few interviews lined up with some of the major financial firms, chose the one that made the most sense, and here we are. So I didn't exactly know I knew what I wanted to do until 6 months prior to graduation. So. All right, I see another one. What would you suggest to people interested in business but unsure about what industry to focus on? One thing I would do is really focus on whatever prereqs you need to graduate on, the broad ones. And throughout that time, start doing your research. Go on, if you're trying to decide on an industry, figure out if it's business, if you want to go into finance, management, there's so many, what are they called? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Concentrations you could focus on in college, but as long as you kind of get all of them done in your first 2 years, so get all those prerequisites done, I think you'll be able to get a better focus on what you really like doing, where your passion lies. Again, for me, it was management. I didn't even focus on finance at Sonoma State, but now I'm pretty much getting a finance degree through some of the programs I'm taking. But yeah, figure out, do a little bit of everything. Next one, should we be scared of our business failing if we start one? Oh, that one's a tricky one. I don't think you should be scared, especially being young. It's just take that as a learning opportunity. If it fails, you gotta have something to build on, coming back around. So was it, all sunshine and butterflies for me when I started? Heck no. Okay, so you don't be afraid to fail. You will, there is gonna be things that even if your business is successful, you are gonna fail in some aspects. Just have faith in that. But the biggest thing you want to be able to leverage is learning from those mistakes, whatever they may be. So if, hey, one business fails, well, shoot, if you want to start another one after that, now you know what doesn't work and what does, and you're able to apply that more effectively. So yeah, don't be afraid of that.
And then Jose, can you answer this? Do you specifically know of any places to volunteer in the Santa Rosa area? I volunteer at the Redwood Food Bank all the time and I love it, but I was just wondering if you knew of any other volunteer work.
That's honestly the biggest one around here that you can physically volunteer, do volunteer hours. Sonoma County is one of the hubs for the most amount of nonprofits. Most of these nonprofits, they actually need money, not people. But shoot, you could just Google volunteer Sonoma County and there's some opportunities that pop up every now and then. The most consistent one, and just because of how big and good they are, is the Redwood Food Bank, unfortunately. But yeah, just don't be afraid to Google some stuff and just keep an ear out for those types of events. Did you work for another business for a while before starting your own? I did. So I mentioned, it was in my introduction, my parents do have a business. They own a restaurant. So I was able to see some of the landscape and what it takes to run a business. Not just work in one. So you definitely need to have a different mentality, really working on the business, on the back end of things that many people don't really focus on. For me, I'm in a unique situation where I'm both working in the business and working on running it. So there's, again, a lot of stuff behind the scenes in terms of paperwork, doing all payroll, taxes, everything that happens in the back, pretty much we call it back office, that really needs to work on. But yeah, it definitely, I did have that advantage. Next one, I really like how you thought of the underserved people and work towards. Do you think that you will ever expand your current business and offices? Yes, I currently am. So yeah, that is one of my focuses, is working on the Hispanic communities, but I do work with a lot of medical professionals. So I work with a handful of physicians over at St. Joseph and Kaiser. So that is one of my markets, both physicians and nurses. So yeah. Do you think you will stay in finance your whole life, and why? Great question. I think so. This is one of the industries where it's residual. So as you start building assets under management, you're not working as hard to make a paycheck, because that same money is going to be paying you along the way. So there's two things going on there. If you guys understand how compounding interest works, those assets are going to just multiply over time. On top of that, people are usually give you money on a monthly basis, or annual basis, whatever that may be. So again, you kind of see that growth happen over time. So at the beginning, this industry is fairly difficult because there is nothing you're kind of, getting residual income from. But over time, as your assets under management grow, that kind of goes with it. So that's the reason I plan on retiring from this career. What was behind your motivation? So that's a really good question. My why is my family. So right now I'm currently engaged, want to start a family. I want them to be not having to worry about the financial stuff of things. So having everything they need. When I grew up, things were tough. My parents had this business, again, not always successful. There was ups and downs. Guess what? They were the last to get paid when tough times came around. So I'll give you an example. 2008 came around, Great Recession, and they paid their employees every time, but they didn't take a paycheck for maybe 7 months. So it was really rough for them to ride out that wave, but they were always the last to get paid, but their employees never missed a dime. So that's one of my biggest motivations, is just kind of, again, keeping my nose to the grindstone, building my business now so I don't have to work as hard, later on when I'm older. I actually really want to work less. So I'm grinding right now to build that up and make sure my family is set up financially. Do you have any finance tips on how to save up? Biggest tip, and again, you could go on Google and research this stuff. There's a lot of helpful information nowadays. But it's pretty well-rounded for people, right out of high school, is starting a Roth IRA. Again, you can read up on what it does and how it works. But the second thing many people don't take advantage of when they're starting off is taking advantage of a 401k, 403b, whatever plan is offered at your employer, and taking advantage of the employer match. So what do I mean by that? Well, shoot, if you start a job at XYZ company and you make $100,000 a year, they offer a 3% match. If you do not take advantage of that program, they're not going to give you any money for your retirement. Whereas if you put in 3%, if the company's going to give you 3%, you're just doubling the money you're putting into that plan. So instead of putting in $3,000, $6,000 actually goes into your again, 401k, 403b. So make sure you take advantage of that, those types of programs. What class would show us best on how to start your own business? Again, I went to Santa Rosa Junior College to do my prereqs before I transferred over to Sonoma State. Just make sure you take all business classes. Just that focus on that. There is a handful of, I can't remember the course right now, but the JC offers a management course that kind of gives you an overview of what you really got to do to build a business. And it's pretty broad in terms of, it's not focused on any industry. So I would kind of look at, Sonoma State or the JC for you guys that are local. Take advantage of that. That's cheap schooling, and it's one of the best, JCs in the country. So take advantage of that if you can. SoCo Monarch projects, which is presenting a workshop tomorrow. CareerFest. Oh, there we go. So some career opportunities on the open questions. Did people doubt you and your business? How did you feel with those people? Absolutely. Shoot, coming in the industry at 24, 25, they're looking at me and you're like, why would I give you my money? What have you done? How have you earned, the right to even ask me? So yes, that's a really good question. I definitely had to build trust over time. There was a lot of clients that I approached over time, especially at the beginning when I first started, and they're like, yeah, you know what, not right now. And the reason that way, and I asked them, why did you wait so long for you to kind of, trust me with this? And it was time. They didn't think I was going to make it in the industry because high turnover, I get it. And the second one was, you're young. What life experiences have you had that you could relate to me and my family and so on and so forth? So those were two big things I had to overcome. One thing I definitely continued on is education. Just for this industry, you need a lot of continuing education just to keep your licenses active. But on top of that, I'm actually taking courses with the American College of Financial Services to get my CFP designation, Certified Financial Planner. And there's definitely a bunch of courses along the way that, you could definitely apply immediately when you're working with clients. I let my clients know, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And again, it just builds that trust over time. So yeah, great questions.
Thank you so much, Jose. We all appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. To our attendees, thank you for participating today, both in the JamBoard, listening to what Jose and Anaya had to offer all of us, and then all of your fantastic questions. We appreciate your attendance.